بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. وبعد. My beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, continue with our Ramadan talks and reminders, continuing with our subject of the wisdom in fasting. We mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Hakim, and there's nothing that He does except that there's a wisdom behind it. Even if we are not aware of what that wisdom is, but there's nothing that Allah has ordered, ordained, legislated for us to do in Al-Islam, except that it is of a benefit for ourselves. It is not that Allah benefits from what we do. It is not that Allah is in need of what we do because He is Al-Ghani, but rather we are in need of what He has legislated for us because we are the fuqara. We are in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of our needs. And so what He has legislated from us out of His hikmah is only for our own benefit. So some of the things that we already mentioned is that the fasting of Siyam, it is a way of tazkiyat nafs, purification of our soul. And it cleanses us and it helps to treat one of the major illnesses of arrogance and another illness of pride and greed. So this is what the fasting helps remove from us. Also, we said that the fasting, it makes narrow our veins so that the shayateen, devils, are not able to flow through us. Because yes, the shayateen, they're able to enter mankind, to enter us and to possess us and cause us to do things that we would not like to do, which is displeasing. So the fasting helps to keep the shayateen out of us. The third thing that we had mentioned is that fasting, it empties the heart of all the unnecessary concerns of this dunya, and it helps the heart in the remembrance of Allah and to contemplate the greatness of Allah and the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fourthly, we mentioned that fasting of Siyam, it is a type of worship that we use to get near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by fasting, it is a means of us to get near to Allah. Because fasting, abandoning our ta'am wa sharab wa shahawat, our food, our drinking, our desires, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of Allah the Most High, glory be to Him. This shows what's called al-ikhlas, sincerity to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which is the fifth point. Fasting helps us as a means to achieve taqwa or piety. And piety, it is doing what has been commanded and abandoning what has been forbidden. It's that simple. Doing what has been commanded and leaving off, abandoning what has been forbidden. That is the meaning of piety. As much as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala As Allah's slaves, us, His ibad, are commanded to abstain from food, to abstain from drinks, we are also commanded to abstain from all sins in the month of Ramadan. So it's not just not eating, it's not just not drinking, but all sins we are commanded to stay away from during the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan, it aids us and helps us to do so. So this is to prepare us to continue abstaining, to continue staying away from sins after the month of Ramadan. So imagine if we really sincerely practice this and work hard and make dua to stop doing sins, and we go through the month of Ramadan, we work hard in the day, we work hard in the night, sacrificing our sleep as well, standing in prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, abandoning all these sins. Why would we go back to them after Ramadan? So it helps us, it prepares us to give us the strength to abandon these sins again after Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, what means, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, or you will believe, kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum. Prescribed upon you is the siyam, fasting, as it has been prescribed to the nations, the ummah of people who followed the previous prophets and messengers before us. He said, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may become pious. This is the reason why Allah has prescribed this on us. He wants piety for us. He wants piety for His ibad, for His servants. Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu, he reported that the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, said, whoever does not give up, whoever does not give up telling lies, whoever does not give up making false statements and acting upon, Allah is not in need of his fasting. He is not in need of him leaving his food and drink. So imagine from the Muslims who, okay, they're not eating, they're not drinking, but they're still falling into committing sins with their tongues, lying, spreading false information. And this could be so many ways, right? So unfortunately, some people, they are into music. And so, and they may tell stories of things that they are not even involved in, just to make things sound good or to go with their rhymes. So you're telling lies. And so this is something we also have to be aware of, that in Islam, we're not allowed to lie. And there's no thing as, oh, I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm just joking. No, you're just lying. I'm just kidding. Now I'm just joking. No, you're just lying. So lying is not allowed. Is joking? Okay, that's another thing. But can you joke without telling a lie? Okay? Can you joke without telling a lie? So I don't know if that's possible, but can we have fun? Can we laugh? Yes. So a person has to be creative in what they do. They not lie, even when they're telling jokes or things of that nature. Okay? So we cannot do that. So Allah is not in need of your food, your drink, if you cannot control your tongue and you continue to tell lies and spread false speech. As he says, so that man لم يدع قول الزور وعمل به فليس له حاجة في أن يدع طعامه وشرابه. He said, who does not abandon a قول الزور, false speech of all types, false things of all types, and acting upon them, then Allah is not in need of him abandoning or leaving his food or drink. So the person who's fasting, they are to remember and keep their tongues pure from making false statements and refrain themselves. So it's training what the tongue to speak truth. The sixth thing that from the hikmah or the wisdom of fasting is that fasting, it is a great means of training oneself to be sincere to Allah, to have sincerity to Allah, which is ikhlas. So to have ikhlas to Allah, this is one of the goals or wisdoms behind fasting. So the fasting person could be alone in his house, for example, and they can have the delicious food, right? Or the cupcakes or the sweets or whatever. Is there no one's around? You're thirsty, nice sweet lemonade be sitting there. No one's there. But because they fear Allah and they know that Allah is there, Allah is watching. Nothing escapes Allah's knowledge. They know that Allah sees them. They don't eat. They don't drink. And this is the person who is conscious of Allah and fears Allah. So because they love Allah, because they fear Allah, they do not touch those things that they shouldn't do, even if no other person is around, no cameras around, and they can get away with it from the people, but they know they cannot get away with it from Allah. Seven is that fasting trains one to be called forbearing and control his or her anger and refrain from causing harm. So this is a huge one that you learn by fasting. It trains you to be forbearing, to control your anger and refrain from causing harm. Abu Hurairah, radiallahu anhu, he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "As-siyamu junnatu, as-siyamu junnah," meaning that the fasting, it is a junnah, meaning a shield. وَإِذَا كَانَ يَوْمُ صَوْمِ أَحَدِكُمْ, and when you're fasting, any of you are fasting, فَلَا يَرْفُثْ وَلَا يَسْكُتْ فَإِنْ سَابَهُ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ فَلْيَقُلْ إِنِّي امْرُؤٌ صَائِمٌ. So he said that when you are fasting, he says, فَلَا يَرْفُث, meaning that you do not engage in intimacy with your spouse or anyone, to be clear. You have to be clear where we're here. All right. So it's not just your spouse, anyone. Okay, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. These are haram first. But we have to remind people to say, "Well, I'm not married, so I guess this doesn't matter." All right. But yes, you are to first not engage in that with anyone, and definitely someone that you're not married to. So we have to be clear. Because sometimes people, they look for some loophole, try to find some loophole where he said this, but well, it must be okay for that. No, we have to be clear that this is haram to be in any relationship. It is a major sin to be with someone who is not your wife or your husband. Even to be alone with them, this is sinful in itself. You have to be careful about what that leads to. As said, that if the male and female are by themselves, then shaitan is with them. And shaitan will urge them eventually to fall into haram. And we know many stories where people have fallen into the same situation. Even we have to be careful because some say, well, I'm not attracted. to that person, but it has happened anyway. Where the two people had no idea, they was just either, there's cases they were just so-called friends. There were cases where they were in-laws, brother-in-law and sister. So they're not even thinking in that way, but the shaitan will make you do things. So to prevent yourself from falling into these things, stay away. Don't be in seclusion with someone that you are not to be with. So because the shaitan, he will trick you, he will deceive you, he will beautify things that you would not even normally think is okay and beautiful. So be careful. As the statement says, "Al-Wuqaya khayru min al-ilaj." The prevention is better than the cure. And this is what Islam has come with. All of the ways and means of helping us and preventing us from even going near. As Allah says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا zina. Don't even go near a zina. Forget the act of committing zina, but don't what? Go near it. Because once you go near it, what's going to happen most likely? You're going to might fall into it. So don't go near it. So cut the means of getting to these major sins. And this goes to all of the things that are haram. Don't go near them. Go, don't go near those things that are haram so that you do not fall into them. The next one and the last one that we mentioned for tonight is that the fasting shows the unity of the Muslims. So fasting, it is something that we see. It is a noticeable ritual from the rituals of Islam because people see, for example, just look at this month of Ramadan. Look how many people are coming. They see the food here. They see we passing out food for people. It gathers the Muslims together, right? It gathers us to break our fast together, have iftar together, and also other acts that we do, like the Qiyamul Layl. Okay? So people see that the Muslims are fasting. And we do it all at the same time. We all start our suhoor in the morning the same, and we break our fast at the same time. And it is time to do that now. هذا وصلي وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We'll continue tomorrow بإذن الله تعالى. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Who wants the long neck today? Alhamdulillah.